Border czar Tom Homan said Chicago is ground zero for Trump's deportation plans. ICE raids have already happened in your city. Have you personally witnessed any arrests? What is the feeling in your district about these raids and these arrests that we're seeing?
Well, we haven't seen specific raids in my community, but I know that the anxiety levels are up, particularly after many elected officials, including our mayor and others, have continuously stoked fires of fear and anxiety in neighborhoods, spreading false information that the Trump administration, that Tom Homan, that ICE were coming to round people up out of churches indiscriminately, out of schools, regardless of age, when we know that Tom Homan has, as you just showed in your previous clip, specifically stated that they want to focus on those dangerous, undocumented criminal migrants that are here in our communities. When I met with Tom in December, that's exactly what he said. And his concerns about collateral captures were as real then as they are today. And we're trying to limit the scope of the federal government coming into our neighborhoods by finding ways to work with them to go after their targets. But again, many Democratic leaders refuse to show any kind of working relationship with the Trump administration. And that's only going to hurt the people that they pretend to care about.
And you proposed an amendment which would have allowed Chicago police to work with federal authorities involving those undocumented immigrants you and I are talking about. It failed. So what can be done now to stop criminals who are in this country, who are in your city illegally?
Well, even though the amendment to our sanctuary law failed by a vote to 39-11, with 39 of my colleagues choosing to protect human traffickers and child sexual predators as opposed to our residents, we're continuing to move forward. We're meeting with our colleagues because I think that many people do agree that we should be welcoming to those who want to positively add to our city, while also dealing in a very specific way those who choose to engage in criminal behavior. We're going to try to work out some of these details, but in the meantime, I know that Tom Homan is going to continue to do his job, that they're going to go after these criminal migrants in our communities, and that there are going to be collateral captures, which, hopefully at some point the light bulb will go off for our mayor and the rhetoric will tone down and he'll start thinking about working with the Trump administration to protect those people.
Alderman, you are a Democrat. Do you think your own party dropped the ball when it comes to immigration? It certainly seems so as I'm talking to you.
Time and time again, we've seen where the Democratic Party had plenty of opportunities to enshrine our values as a party into law and just simply refused to do so. We saw that during Roe versus Wade when it was overturned, and many Democrats said, well, what are we going to do now? Well, what did you do in the years where you were in charge? You could have enshrined that, codified that, but you didn't. You took government for granted. And they're doing it again with immigration, where they thought that simply opening up the border to millions of individuals, manipulating asylum to get people into this country would have given them plenty of runway for them to deal with whatever policy decisions they wanted to do under a potential Harris administration. But that didn't work out that way. And now they have to deal with the fact that not only did they create a situation where you have millions of people who've manipulated asylum here, but you've also forgotten as a party about the long-term undocumented individuals who you promised a pathway for, particularly the dreamers in our city.
I've spent a lot of time in Chicago. It's a diverse city. It's a beautiful city. Nearly 30% of the people living there are Latino. So what are you saying to so many of those who are fearful of being caught up in these raids?
Well, I think many in Chicago, in particular the Latino community, understand that there's a difference between the 98% of those that are here, whether documented or not, who are following the laws and just going about their business, contributing to their communities, and that 2 or 3% that simply don't want to get with the program, who are choosing to engage in criminal, dangerous behavior every single day. They don't want to be lumped in with these individuals. They want us to specifically find ways to remove them from our communities and our country if necessary. And they understand when you break it down to the fact that we're focusing solely on criminals, that that's who they want gone also. So there's a lot of support in immigrant communities when you say that those criminal migrants should be dealt with specifically and separately. But again, that's not what the Democratic leaders like Bandon Johnson are saying when they keep trying to force the good and the bad together to protect that small minority of criminal element within our neighborhoods.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.